The Department of Public Health and Human Services is pleased to bring you Aging Horizons. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, fraud, legal issues, veterans benefits, and caregiving. Aging Horizons is a program dedicated to inform and prepare Montanans on these timely issues, making a difference to you and your loved ones. Here now is today's program host.
Welcome to Aging Horizons. On today's show, we'll be talking about fire. 'Tis the fire season here in Montana, and everybody should be aware of certain conditions about fires. We want you to pre-plan in case there's a fire. We want you to mitigate. Once you know the pre-planning is how do you reduce fire potential of your property, and we want you to be situationally aware, and a lot more information. Stay tuned.
This is Bill. He just received his new Medicare card and is following some simple rules to protect himself from fraud. He knows to never give out his Medicare, Social Security, or bank number over the phone. And this is Nancy. She knows that to detect any problems, she always reads her Medicare summary notice or Medicare Advantage EOB to make sure the billing is correct. Both Bill and Nancy know that anything suspicious can be reported to Montana SMP at 1-800-551-3191.
Good care is your right. In Montana, there's over 11,000 beds in nursing homes and assisted living facilities. If you or a family member needs assistance or help in obtaining information about care issues and placement options, call 1-800-332-2272. If you or a family member need information about Montana's long-term care resident rights, or if you need help solving a problem or a complaint about a nursing home or an assisted living facility, call us at 800-332-2272.
Providing long-term care for someone in need is a labor of love, but it is a labor. Time apart is healthy and necessary both for the caregiver and the person receiving care. It allows each a respite, time to relax and recharge. If you're a long-term caregiver, visit the new Lifespan Respite website. Financial assistance may be available. Respite for caregivers. It's okay to need it. It's okay to want it. It's okay to get it.
Like many areas in Montana, Helena is nearly surrounded by forest and is at risk of a devastating urban fire. Wind-blown embers from wildfires have ravaged communities like Denton, Montana and Boulder, Colorado. Now is the time to prepare your home for wildland fire, no matter where you live. Be aware and prepare. Make you and your community a safer place. Visit firesafemt.org, paid for by FireSafe Helena and aired by the Montana Broadcasters Association.
Hi folks, and welcome to Aging Horizons, brought to you by the Department of Public Health and Human Services, Aging Services. I'm your host, Brian Lamore, and we're talking about fire. We're taping this the first week of August, and it looks like an interesting fire year. Well, probably a bad fire year. And we're going to discuss about how you should be prepared and be aware and plan in case fire is in your area or you come across it. So, of course, we've got some excellent guests here. We start with Pat McKelvey. You're with FireSafe Montana. You're also with Type 1 and Type 2 incident management teams. And Rocky Imfinger, you're the fire chief from Wolf Creek and Craig. Welcome to the show. It's great to have you both here.
Thank you for asking me.
Now, Pat, you're with FireSafe Montana. You both are. What does FireSafe Montana do, and what's its goals around fire?
FireSafe Montana is a nonprofit organization, as you can imagine. We have a statewide emphasis on the education and the things like we're doing right now is to get folks to be aware of what they can do, show them how to do it. We've got pamphlets. Our website is full of that. The other social media that they control puts out information on a weekly basis, I believe. It's more of it's an education. We're not out actually doing the projects. We leave that to the local organizations, such as what they have in Helena, the Tri-County Fire Safe Working Group, the Missoula Group, Flathead has a group. So we leave the actual project identification up to them.
Yeah.
We're in the information and education game.
Yeah, and I know that this book here, it's called Living with Fire, that it's available just about everywhere. And the point of this is to educate individuals. Now, I know you've done community meetings several times in the past. I've known you a long time. But you're always plugging your publications because there's a lot to know about fire safety, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's not just the mitigation actions that you can do, but we also have evacuation guides, we have ignition resistant construction guides, all available on our website. We have, there's some changing things in Montana with population moving more and more into the wildland-urban interface.
Yeah.
And many are folks that have come here, new residents from out of state, and are getting forested or wildland-urban interface kinds of properties.
Yeah.
And really need to have some help on what it is, what's our responsibility here? What can we do to help this situation of really, we're in a state of trying to, in some places, just to do forest resiliency, to get it back to a healthy forest condition. And so those are the things we talk about.
And it comes down to protecting your assets, protecting your home, maybe your business. If you live outside an established city, the WUI, wildland-urban interface, there can be a fire that comes by.
Right, and we see that every year in throughout this state, and of course the whole Northwest. It's nothing new, but I would remind you that you don't have to live in the forest to be subject to the wildland fire. We have a lot of urban forests as well, right in the various communities.
And the fires have come into cities in the past, and with disastrous effects. Now, Rocky, we're talking about the importance of pre-planning for fire, how to mitigate, and social awareness, or situational awareness. And being a county fire chief, you interact with these people every day, and they probably come to you and say, what can I do? Or all of a sudden a fire's coming along, what do I do? It's like, you're in a tough spot, aren't you?
Yeah, one of the big things is that as the fire services, emergency services, we do a lot of pre-planning.
Yeah.
We do a lot of working together, preparing for this. One of the big things that we're lacking is the public's role in that.
Yeah.
Their role is to take care of their property, their home, and we can help direct them to different places that they can get information. Tri-County-Firesafe.org is a great place to get home assessments and stuff done, work with grant money to get some of this stuff done. They just have to step up and do it. There's a lot involved in this pre-planning, from pre-planning for the fire to pre-planning for your evacuation. Do you have a plan? If you're given 10, 15 minutes to leave, what are you taking and where are you going? And there's a lot to that. And involved in that, it goes as far as the insurance part of it. Have you looked at your insurance policy? Should do it on a yearly basis. Make sure you're covered for what you feel you need to be covered for. Have you photographed and taken serial numbers of some of your stuff that you may not be able to take? That can help with your claims later on. So these fires, I hear every year, I didn't know fire could move that fast. It can move unbelievably fast, and you need to be prepared at a moment's notice. Today, for example, we're in a red flag warning. High temperatures, low humidities, and high winds. It should make the hair stand up on your back. You should be reviewing what your plan is and your routes, where you're going to go, contact information when you get to wherever you're going to evacuate to. But a lot of people have this reliance, we have helicopters, we have retardant planes. Yes, we do. They're prioritized though. And the other thing is they don't fly at night. So those bets are off. So fire doesn't care whether it's day or night anymore.
Day or night, that's right.
So that pre-planning from your home to your property to the time to evacuate, all of that, there's a lot of pre-planning. The fire departments, fire services do a lot of that. We work well together. We need the public to help.
They'll help you out. Well, we're drawn to a close quickly on our first segment, but we're emphasizing is that, in any disaster, even fires, you need to be pre-planned, and how are you going to take care of your family? So we'll talk more about that in the next segment. Stay tuned.
Here in Montana, we love our outdoor activities. Unfortunately, few of them are risk-free. Indeed, Montana is second in the nation per capita in head injuries that can destroy the lives of people we love. That's why you should insist your family always wear protective helmets. But you can do even more. When you fill out your vehicle registration this year, circle the Y and donate $1 to support traumatic brain injury prevention and education. Now that's using the old noggin.
Every 65 seconds, someone is affected with Alzheimer's or other dementias. Many become isolated at a time when help is most needed. If you or someone you love is affected, help is available, both for people with memory loss and their caregivers. Memory loss can feel frightening, but you are not alone. Call the free 24/7 Alzheimer's Association helpline, 800-272-3900, for guidance and support.
Elder abuse is a growing problem, and it's happening right here in our Montana communities. At least 1 in 10 older adults are victims of physical or emotional abuse, financial exploitation, or neglect. To get help or report elder abuse, call your local area agency on aging or Adult Protective Services at 1-844-277-9300.
I was angry and upset when the doctor told me I have diabetes. I just didn't want to deal with it, the needles and the diet restrictions. But after I started to learn about it, those feelings changed. I was at risk for a heart attack caused by high blood sugar. That got my attention. I started watching my diet and making sure I got enough exercise every day. I want to be around for my grandkids, and now that I know what to do, it seems like a small price to pay.
Ask your doctor about diabetes education or visit montana211.org.
Hi folks, welcome back to Aging Horizons. I'm your host, Brian Lamore, and we're talking about fire. We're taping this show about the first week in August. It's airing the last weekend of August, so a lot of it might have changed back then. But we're talking about the importance of pre-planning for the fire, mitigation, and situational awareness. Well, the pre-planning comes in this book here. Anticipate that there might be fire in your area, and what can you do as a homeowner or business owner to lessen the chance of you having any losses, which could turn over losses for your neighbors. But now, Pat, let's talk about mitigation. That's the second point. What is mitigation, and how is that important, and what can we do to do that?
Mitigation is being able to lessen the impact from, say in this case, a fire if it does occur. Mm-hmm. We want to lower the fire intensity. We want to do things that keep that fire from spreading, keep the flame lengths down. Those actions that we can take to do that. Yeah. But I don't want to put it all on fire either when I talk to a forest owner, a forest landowner, whether they have 5 acres or 1,000 acres. Yeah. The principles of creating a resilient, healthy forest are the same. And so a lot of it is forest health. Yeah. Do those things that keep your forest healthy, keep the canopy nice. We move out in there because we love our trees. Yes. They give us shade. They get, all those benefits, the aesthetic values that we get from them, and we don't want to lose that. We're not talking about clear cutting everything and having it just be a moonscape around your structure. Right. We're not talking about that. So part of your assessment process with these people is to look at this forest landscape that you have, and what can we do to make that better? Yeah. When I go out and flag trees for folks, a lot of times I've had them where they're standing on their deck and with a cup of coffee and saying, no, that one's got to stay, and okay. But if I do that, then I say, okay, then these 2 over here are probably ones that should go, because we're trying to get a crown spacing of about 20 feet. Mm-hmm. 20 feet crown to crown in most of our forest types will prevent that rapid spread through the crown. Yeah. So we look at where it's at, where it's located with the structure. If you think of things in the assessment process, anywhere, I always say where a snowbank will accumulate, edge of your deck in your house where it comes together, fences, things that catch. An ember bank will develop there too if you do have a fire that's out and showering your structure with embers. So we look at moving things back, of course, like I said. thinning them out. And the other thing to always keep in mind is you don't think of trees being in a row. That's not what I'm talking about. If you look at the Google Earth view, it looks more like bowling pins.
Yeah.
Where you're still having your coffee on your deck or your barbecue, and you're seeing your forest and you've got the aesthetics, but it's spaced. It's out there. And then the other is pruning. Prune the trees up and take those lower branches off. That's an early spring or a late winter job for you. Once you get into where the growth patterns are, then you get into some other issues. But you don't want to kill the tree.
Right.
But we do want those lower limbs up and out of there. You look for if a tree limb is coming up underneath the soffit of your house, probably a good indication that we'd like to take that one out.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the process, and you just keep expanding that out in zones away from the structure. The other thing is the landscaping that you do. Simple things, irrigated green space. That's a simple thing. But there are some plants that we would rather not see you put in within 3 feet of your house.
Yeah.
Juniper being the main one for me. It's a number just waiting for a fire ignition zone. It's an ignition source of its own. And one of the stories I always tell is I can usually go when I do an assessment and pull those back, and I'll find not only a bunch of needles from years accumulation under there, but usually a McDonald's wrapper or some kind of paper, newspapers, things like that, because they catch everything. And then you don't see them. So that's your next thing. And the Cooperative Extension Service has a great guide for what kind of plants that are ignition resistant that you can replace those with, or you can put in when you're doing your initial construction. Doing the mitigation when you're planning a new structure also is a good time. If you're in the wildland urban interface, you look at slope. What's your aspect? What do I need to do if I want to put my house right here? And I don't know, that's where I want my house. Then what kinds of things am I going to have to do with that vegetation treatment out there?
Right.
And then, of course, the other publication that we have is the Ignition Resistant Construction Guide. So if you're doing new construction, well, even remodeling, use of ignition resistant materials, and there's a lot of them out there on the market anymore. Roofings and those things that we always talk about, you hear regularly. Decks, it's just it's also available on our website.
Well, Pat, I remember long time ago, we were in the North Valley and a person had gone through and mitigated his home. Next door, the trees were like 2 thumbs next to each other, and it really made his property look so much better to go in and take them out, and he loved it. And it was beautiful, and it wasn't a degradation of his property. It made it better. And this Living with Fire and the other books that they have, you need to get them. We'll talk more in our next segment about that, so stay tuned.
Summer in Montana is a great time to visit your local farmer's market. Enjoy the social atmosphere while shopping for a wide variety of fresh, locally grown produce. Together with both WIC and Senior Farmers Market nutrition programs, you help feed your family 5 or more daily servings of fruits and vegetables for better health. You also help local ag producers and enhance the state's economy. So, for summer fun that's nutritious and helps Montana's economy, shop at your local farmers market.
I take care of my wife at home. When I found out training was available, I said, sign me up. It's made a huge difference.
When my husband was injured at work, it was life-altering. The classes taught me that it's okay to grieve, to ask for help, and to better cope as a caregiver.
My dad lives 4 hours away, and the Powerful Tools classes taught me that it's okay to ask for help. I highly recommend them.
To find out about this course for caregivers, go to powerfultoolsforcaregivers.org.
It's amazing the difference a little training can make.
Out here, we love our animals, from the wildlife to the livestock. Inside, it's the same. They're just like family. We keep them happy and healthy. most of the time. Secondhand smoke puts pets at risk for cancer, feline lymphoma, vomiting, increases the risk of tumors and lung cancer, even causes eye and skin disease. Secondhand smoke puts your pet's life at risk.
Did you just text me?
I didn't want to disturb you if you were sleeping.
Sleeping? I'm sitting right next to you, silly.
There you are. Hey, I found a couple of Medicare helping programs online that I think we ought to look into.
It says if we qualify, we can get help paying for our prescription drugs. Oh, and there's a program that can help pay our Part B premium.
To learn more about extra help and Medicare savings programs, call your local SHIP counselor today.
Maybe I better text him.
Welcome back to Aging Horizons. I'm your host, Brian Lamore, and we're continuing our discussion about fire. We talked about pre-planning, we talked about how to mitigate, and of course we've got this free publication that's out there. You can go to a website we'll have later on. You'll get a lot of information. But now we want to talk about situational awareness. There's a fire over the hillside. There's a fire down the road. When do you need to start worrying about that? And maybe what do you need to do? So, Rocky, you're a local fire chief with Wolf Creek and Craig, so you probably see a lot of these situational awareness issues that come up and you deal with people. Tell us more about that.
So, people need to be aware of the situation that's going on, both close and far. We've got conditions out there that change rapidly. You look at the news in the evening, tells you, you pay attention to the weather, but you really need to probably pay attention a little bit more. And if they're telling you, such as today, it's a red flag warning, have you taken the steps? I mean, you're probably the next morning going to work. It's cool when you get ready and go to work. Are you going to be able to get back home? Are you prepared to not go back home? We don't know what's going to happen. And, with the way these fires move, it's time is of the essence and preparation. So, it all goes back to that pre-planning to mitigation, situational awareness, know what's going on around you. A great example is 1/3 mile to safety. That family had a fire approaching. They stayed at their house till the last minute. There were several things that happened there. They had an electric gate that had difficulty opening. Tried to drive this 1/3 of a mile from their home to this fire station. They were involved in an accident in the smoke and embers. They lost one of their daughters. Their son and other daughter were both burnt. The older daughter, Allison, was burnt very severely. They had 1/3 mile to go. Doesn't seem like much. We've actually reenacted that here in different places in Montana and actually walked that. 1/3 of a mile is very short distance. They knew that road like the back of their hand. But when you're in the smoke, the panic, the embers, it's a whole different story. So knowing your situation, I know the city of Helena, for example, is working on their evacuation routes. Get familiar with that stuff. Know alternative routes. Know where you're going.
Don't be afraid to go.
Right. Yeah. You don't have to wait for somebody to tell you.
Right.
If you just don't feel good, maybe you should think about getting to somewhere where you feel a little better about things. Because things change rapidly, and there's a lot of chaos that goes on when these fires start, and it can be exacerbated, especially if you just panic. So again, back to the pre-planning, the preparing, both your property, your home, knowing what the situation is and how that changes. What the weather conditions are in the morning going to probably be completely changed by afternoon, then again at night. So, you need to be paying attention to when they say we're going to have northwest winds in the morning, switching to the south in the afternoon. What you were thinking the fire would come from may come from another direction now. So just having situational awareness of what's going on and being able to react to that.
Well, Pat and I being incident management team information officers, it's surprising that vehicles run on air, and if you're in the smoke, your vehicle's not running too well.
Right.
You can't see in the smoke, even if you've driven that road so many times, like that 1/3 mile.
Yep.
And then you're panicking, and then where's the rest of your family? And then the cell phone towers get overloaded, so you can't talk on the cell phones. Be aware of this ahead of time and anticipate and have everybody instructed, this is where we go, this is where we meet, and get out early, right?
Yep.
And anticipate power loss.
And power, yeah.
We've had folks that were found in their garage, deceased, because they didn't know how to open the door when the power went out.
Yeah.
I think one other thing that would be very helpful is when these incidents do, regardless of the type of incident, but mostly fire, don't go there to be the looky-loo. It really hampers our response, people evacuating. It has been a problem. I've tried to get to fires in a command vehicle, and the traffic impedes that, and we don't need that. We need to be able to do our job. We need to get in, people need to get out. You coming to watch is not helpful. So, please stay away. That's one thing that the public can really help us with.
Yeah, and the best pictures you'll see of it is on the news.
Yep.
You're not going to get that close.
Right. Yep.
We'll bring the news people in and we'll explain everything to them. And you can get that information. And many times, the people that you think you're going to run in and help your family members or other friends don't. I've seen the fire trucks can't get in because everybody's blocked both sides of the road. It's really tough. Well, I'd like to thank you both for everything you're doing, because I've worked with both of you for many decades, I guess. And you're very informed. You're very concerned about keeping Montanans safe. And I'd like to thank you for your service. You've done a great job. And, the lives saved, you never know.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you for helping us get the word out.
Yep. And keep it up. And again, we're going to talk about, this book, Living with Fire. It's so important to be prepared so that you can pre-plan, you can mitigate, and situational awareness. If something is happening, get out. Don't wait for an invitation. Play it safe. Play it extra safe, because you're not going to be part of the problem. You're not going to tie up traffic. And if you're informed, you're aware, and that's the best way you can help the firefighters. For Aging Horizons, I'm Brian Lamore. Thank you for joining us.
Special thanks to the Department of Public Health and Human Services for their continued support. Hosts on Aging Horizons are program specialists at the Montana Office on Aging. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions. For more information about Aging Horizons, call the Department of Public Health and Human Services toll-free at 800-332-2272.